Hello, it's April 27th, 2023, and this is the weekly Backtop Developer Meeting. We've got a small group here today, but big goals. We only have a couple more days until feature freeze for Backtop 1.25.0. We'll do some introductions. My name is Nate Lampton. I'm Quick Sketch on the internet. I'm core committer for the Backtop project and technical lead. We'll go to Luke and then Greg. You can give a quick introduction.
My name is Luke McCormick. I'm a web project manager in San Ramon, California, occasionally found as Cell Ear on the internet. And I'm here, I'll randomly suggest stuff and other people will make them, and it's really remarkable.
Thanks, Luke. Greg and then Robert.
I am Greg, usually in Melbourne, Australia, but now coming to you from Greece. Generally interested in helping out with anything related to Backdrop, but the past week has been a new job for me, so I'm busy with that, but I'll try to make some time over the weekend to help out. If you need code reviews, just ping me in Zulip. Yep, thanks.
Thanks, Greg. Robert, and then Justin.
I'm Robert Lang, bug folder on the internet in Altadena, California. Lately, mostly working on contrib projects.
All right, great, thanks. Justin, do you want to do an introduction?
Justin Kaiser. I am a developer living in Indiana, and I have been talking about Backdrop all afternoon because I'm in Chicago at MidCamp, and I don't want to play board games, so I joined you all.
Wow, honored that you would choose us over board games. That would not have been the decision I would make. All right. Let's see. Thank you for representing Backdrop at MidCamp. That's fantastic. I don't know if we have any other representatives there. Have you run into any other Backdrop folks?
Tim and Wilbur are over there playing a card game. And,
oh,
well,
excellent.
I got to meet Irina this afternoon. I was in a BOF with Irina for several hours this afternoon.
Oh, well, that's
and
wonderful.
Other folks too.
Yay. All right, that's fantastic. Yeah, well, thanks again for joining all the way from MidCamp. Let's see, Jen isn't here. We normally talk about contrib modules, or at least give a little update. There's one new contrib module that was released this past week. Other View Filter is the name of a new module that allows you to filter the contents of one view by the contents of another view. That sounds...
Wait, really?
Wild. Yeah, I guess you make one view that is your filter, and then you select that view as the filter criteria for the first view. So that probably allows some really complicated filtering capabilities.
Like Inception.
Yeah, that's really cool. Thanks, Martin Yorkshire Pudding, for reporting that module. Let's see. Other news, I wasn't on the meeting last week, but Backdrop 124.2 was released. That is a security release. Let's see, this was released April 19th. So yeah, 8 days ago. But 123.4 also included a number of bug fixes, which was fantastic. Let's see, it had 13 closed issues in addition to the security issue. Security issue, actually, well, I mean, I don't want to downplay this seriousness of any security issue, but this one in particular largely affected Windows operating system, so not going to be a super widely experienced problem. But still, you should update your site as soon as possible to the latest version of Backdrop. Let's see if there's any other good issues that were noted in there. Oh, Robert, you got your autocomplete on iPad and iPhone. The location of the modal autocomplete dialog has been corrected, so that's great.
Yeah, very happy to see that.
Yeah, quickly on that issue that you were saying, Nate, looking at our telemetry page, Windows servers report like 4 servers running on Windows, which is 1% of what is being reported out of 360 or so sites. So yeah.
Yeah, thanks. It's surprising that that there are any. I don't think that we. Oh wait, I think Windows is fine. I think it's IIS that we don't officially support. So I don't think that we track that usage. Yeah, I think it would just show up as an other web server currently.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. We've got a couple of issues to discuss, and then we're going to turn our attention to 125, the feature freeze for which is on Monday, May 1st. But first of all, we're going to take a look at this issue that Gregory raised up, which is issue 6081. Should node cache be emptied when creating a new node? This was opened just yesterday by Jan K. Searle. Oh, it might be Donkey. It's always hard to tell with these handles that are all one word.
Thanks, Earl, or whatever.
Yeah. Okay. Well, anyway, it looks like a new contributor from Barcelona. That's fantastic. I've not seen this person post before. So they're asking, should cache clears happen? I imagine this is because they have the page cache turned on, and when you create a new node, it doesn't show up for
So
the
the
lifetime
backstory.
of the cache.
The backstory of this is that person, his colleague, I think, showed up in Zulip, and they said that we are in the process of moving a D7 site to Backdrop, and we've noticed that we have this page, which admittedly might be poorly coded or whatever, but a lot of things. And we noticed that an issue in Backdrop that is not present in D7, and that's it. The page takes like about a minute to load. And their troubleshooting came down to this specific line that is linked to in the issue summary, and they sort of like hacked their way by tweaking that line and realized that that's the problem, and then it fixed things. So we urged them to raise an issue just to get to the bottom of this and what's happening. And the gist of it is that IndigoZilla and others like us were wondering whether we should be clearing all caches or entity caches each time that a node is being updated, and we concluded that we shouldn't. Right. And towards the end, so IndigoZilla has provided a pull request. It's a relatively simple pull request, and it has tests. But then we realized that exposed an issue with books specifically, where we need to do some custom cache clearing. And that's the summary as I recall it.
Yeah, this is a really good point, actually. It isn't what I thought it was going to be. I thought that the cache wasn't clearing when it should be, but you're saying that it's clearing when it shouldn't.
Yeah, it's excessive.
Yeah, and absolutely. So I've noticed this before, that the entity cache, so we added entity cache in Backdrop. That's not in 777. That's where the difference comes in. It's probably not so much in the clearing of the cache that takes time. It's in generating the new caches the next time the page is loaded. And if you have a view that has a lot of nodes on it, or in this case, I guess a book that has a lot of big hierarchical listing on it, the table of contents, then putting all those cache entries into the cache table can take some time. So yeah, this is a great observation.
The issue reporter showed up in one of the in the European office hours where IndigoZilla and Martin and myself were there, and then I joined a bit later, and we started discussing it. And one of the things that we mentioned was exactly that if we do need to clear all caches, then maybe we need to regenerate them in the background instead of, I don't know if it's possible. One of the ideas that we threw around, but yeah, that might be moot now.
Yeah, this looks great, and I see why there's no need to reset any cache on an insert, because the node doesn't exist yet. So of course you don't need to clear cache for something that doesn't exist yet. So it's on update, it should clear its own cache only, which absolutely makes sense. Yeah, this looks good to me. And it has test coverage. Yeah, it's a great issue. It is needs work though.
Yeah, because of the problem with the books specifically. So it's the comment by RG Piano 6 hours ago. The one with the screenshots, basically.
Okay, great. Okay, well, anyway, this looks really promising as it is. Yeah, I'll take a closer look to see what we can do about books. Oh, books. Okay, great. All right, let's talk about 125.0. So we only have 4 days left before feature freeze. And so what I've been seeing and I love to see is that there's a lot of these like so-called low-hanging fruit issues that are being tackled to get them in over the next couple of days. A couple of them have been RTBC for a while now, and they're just waiting on some core committer review. So let's see. There's 3292, which we've seen for a while. Taxonomy checkboxes and radios should use the new Form API indentation property instead of dashes to denote child items. This one I think has been RTBC for a couple of weeks now. It's just that we've been prioritizing things in the bug fix release to get included in the security release that happened last week. So this one, I don't think that there's any holdups on. This is a new one, a new one for the RTBC list. Issue 3006, alt attributes should be enabled on new fields and have an option to set alt and title attributes as required. This one has seen a lot of activity in the past couple of days. Looks like Gregory, and actually Justin, you've been taking a look at this one as well. Do either of you want to give an update or summary on what you're seeing in this issue?
Justin, want to go?
Well, sure. I can speak to it from a user perspective. I mean, I'm running it on a site. I'm running the patch on a site right now. So I want to be able to require alt fields in my image fields and inside the CK editor. So it does the trick for that, and it's better than the contrib module, the EIM contrib module, because this works inside the CK editor too. So you can require alt text on inserted images in the bottom field.
Yeah, this looks good. I wasn't expecting CK editor as well, but that looks good.
Yeah, and from a code perspective, I did some nitpicking there. I think that the code looks good. And historically, we initially were looking to make to add options for both the alt text and the title to be required, but then we examined some accessibility issues with the title, and then we erred on the side of not including such an option because it makes accessibility worse. So this is where we sort of like concluded now, just only adding an option for the alt text.
I think the option might still be there, but it's not required by default.
No, there's no option. The last pull request just removes this option because it makes it worse for the title attribute. For the alt attribute, it's okay. And we, as of the last changes that Herb made after my feedback, we are taking advantage of identation for the checkbox, the additional checkbox there too. So cool. We're putting previous improvements, developer improvements into good use.
Yep, confirmed. This is just the alt title at this point. Or sorry, our alt fields.
Yeah, I think that the last comment that I left was basically just OCD thing. It's just the fields that we had weights in them, and we decided to remove the checkbox for making the title required, and then it left the weights in something like 11, 12, and then 14 instead of 13 or something like that. It was just a minor. I'm not sure if Herb has already fixed that.
It looks like it was initially proposed to make it enabled by default, but it looks like it's disabled by default. Is that an intentional
Yes.
decision? Okay, so we're kind of leaving things as is for now.
Yeah, we can.
But giving the option.
Yeah, and we can revisit in the future if we decide that this needs to be the default.
Okay, yeah, looks great. Okay, yeah, that one's in an RTBC state right now, which is fantastic. Next up, we have another issue that I haven't seen before, issue 4937. This is a real minor expansion, but seems like one that would cause no harm or cause no problems, which is allow WebP extension for the hero block image if supported, issue 4937. IndigoZella opened this one up a couple of years ago. And let's see, it looks like Greg, you've had a hand in this. Kiam Laluno, IndigoZella, and Herb Duel, all kind of knocking things back and forth here.
Yeah, and I think that my last comment, we ended up looking at the pull request, the comments there, that we ended up filing a separate issue for it.
Oh, okay, cool.
I think we're good.
Yeah, great. I'll look at this one. This one is cool. 5983, add a language switcher to the admin bar when locale module is enabled. I love this. The admin bar has such potential to be used for other things. So I love this idea. So add language switcher. So it just makes it, regardless of whether or not there's a language switcher on the page, it just adds one so that you can switch it as an admin, which is great because I see lots of sites where they might have multilingual capabilities, but they don't, for one reason or another, put the links to every page's translations directly on every page. Let's see, Greg, you've had a look at this one. Do you have any thoughts or words on it?
Yeah, about an hour ago, the comments that are left in the pull request, I didn't remove the RTBC flag, because if you look at the comments, and I can go quickly through them, one of them was moving the LTR inline comment for CSS in a second line, and I'm not sure if that was done because PHPCS was complaining, but the norm is that we put it on next to the CSS property that it concerns. So it's just trivial things that need to be fixed. And then just on the update hook that we added, just the conditional doesn't seem right to me based on what it, the description of what it does. So I see that we are trying to exit early, but it says if the locale module is not enabled and language is multilingual, it seems odd to me. Mm-hmm, so it can happen, like we need to exit early if either of these things are true. So if it's not multilingual or the locale module is not enabled, then we should exit early. So a little bit of tweaking there, I think, required. And then as I explained, I'm not sure what's going on with the descriptions in the theme functions, but maybe there's something that I'm missing there. I don't know if you guys know better.
The descriptions in the theme functions? What?
Yes. So it says.
Them?
So it says.
Yeah. Okay. This is the doc blocks.
Yes.
That you're talking about. Okay.
So it says renders a language icon, and the return value just returns text. So it doesn't make sense to me. And if you expand this is on the 25th line or so. So if you expand to see the two functions before that, they also return just text for home and this page, right?
Yeah.
And I see that we are mimicking what these descriptions, like copy and pasting. And if we keep doing that, then I don't know, it doesn't make sense to me. And also the theme admin bar icon page thing is missing a space in the return there. And I'm not sure why PHPCS didn't pick that. So I say just while we're there, just maybe fix those as well. but I'm happy to move that into a follow-up.
Yeah. Yeah, if it gets addressed, then great. But if it doesn't, then we probably won't hold it up based
Yeah,
on it. But yeah,
I'll file a
That's-
follow-up.
that's is a little bit strange. It would be nice. Oh, there is an icon that got added. It looks like, what is this an icon of? It's a little bit hard to tell from the photographs. Oh, it's nice, nice. It's got the letter A and then a
Yeah, which is
kanji character of some kind.
it's about the icons that other sites use as well. Like for example, there's a similar icon in Wikipedia for selecting the entries in different languages. So
Perfect. I love it. That's great. Okay, yeah, that's great. Okay, let's see. This one seems really esoteric to me, so I'd love some more information on it. 2370 options to change parent link behavior in responsive drop-down menus. So this is when you're placing the menu block on a page. There's some options that make it so that it will collapse down to a mobile-friendly menu with a little hamburger. There's an option for whether or not you want the menu toggle or not. And this adds some new options for how the collapsible menu behaves. Greg, you've been in on this one too. Can you help me kind of
First of all,
understand what's going on here?
yeah, not that much because it's been on my to-do list to actually test it. And if anyone has done any testing, I will leave it up to them. But just as a summary of what I know is that we're basically exposing existing options of the smart menus library that we have in the UI just to address different use cases. That's my understanding, but I haven't looked at the code. I haven't tested it, or maybe I just quickly browsed through the code. So I'm not sure, Robert. Anyone else? If you no, yeah, I didn't have time this week. Sorry. Might check it out over the weekend.
Yeah, interesting. It looks like people are talking about, oh, there's other options in the library that we could expose to. And so people are saying, it doesn't really provide any value to me. Yeah, the only thing I struggle with here is that it's really esoteric looking, like when you're placing a menu block to be confronted with these questions that are a little bit difficult to understand what kind of effect it's going to have.
One of the things that we should point out is in how this surfaced is I think that Larian was working, if I recall correctly, I need to go through the issues, someone else was working on a website, and it became an accessibility issue of how the expansion of the mobile sort of like menu behaves, whether it needs to be a first click to select it and then a second click, or I don't know how it behaves. But yeah, as I said, I haven't looked at it extensively. I just need to this is from skimming through the comments.
Mm-hmm. Well, maybe I'll post something. Well, maybe I won't. I don't know. Sometimes when I post things, it completely derail issues. I don't really mean to, but off the cuff here, like speculating if there was a way to inject this value programmatically, if that would help this particular situation. Like maybe this doesn't necessarily need to be a UI option. Maybe we just need the ability for a developer to be able to change the option. And right now, maybe it's difficult to do that, or impossible. And so the easy thing to do is to add an option, because then you can get at it right where the behavior is applied.
Yeah, well, we have other similar options like making that thing work as a hamburger or whatever, and these are related. So I actually see value in this.
Okay. Yeah, definitely. You can see that side easily.
Yeah, from a site builder sort of like perspective and non-developer perspective. Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. That does it for the list of things that are like on the cusp of being ready for 125 over the next couple of days.
There's also another one. Sorry, 5995. That's the issue about the context handling for views blocks.
Oh, right, of course. Yeah. I meant to mention that one as well. I posted a comment on that one right before the issue saying, this is looking great. It has test coverage now. It looks like it just needs review, and so there's a couple of people that are already in here that are being very helpful. I think we've already kind of technically reviewed it. Like Doc Wilmot and I have both reviewed it individually. So I think we really, the big things here that are new is that we need to just make sure that the test coverage actually covers the use case that is described. And as long as other big changes haven't been made. Oh, and it looks like, Greg, you were helping him re-roll against 1.x, which may have been a little bit of a roadblock for him. I'm not sure why was it that he needed to re-roll it? Is there a conflict or something?
Yeah, I think so. I can't remember. Maybe tests weren't. I can't remember. Sorry.
Yeah, there's no conflicts right now, and all tests look like they're passing. So it looks like this is in a really good state right now.
Yep.
This is a really great feature, even though it's not one that is like a big end user feature. Like, I mean, it's definitely a site builder and a powerful feature, but it's also difficult to describe. But if you need it, then you know it.
And then one final, I'm not sure if you had others in your list, Nate.
I didn't have any other ones particularly.
So this is the one I'm advocating for, 5885. So this is basically, so yeah, we have included a few releases back. We have included a default editor role, and this solves a couple of issues. So it's an intuitive thing. There's less things for you to do when you set up content, but it also solves an issue that some people face quite often is someone like a site builder creates a content type for them, but they forget to set permissions, and then no one is able to actually do anything with that content. Jen had reviewed that, and she had concerns about us automatically granting the delete any content of that type. We filed a follow-up, but I'm equally as happy to just make that an exception or an additional checkbox and say also grant this permission to the editor role. But most of the people that have reviewed it and sort of like are eager for this feature, for smaller sites, it does make sense that because it's a smaller team of editors, and usually whoever is the editor should be able to delete any content because they're content approvers at the same time, I should say. So how I ended up implementing this is that we already have a checkbox in the roles settings page a drop-down menu that allows us to specify which role would be the administrative role that would get automatically all the permissions, the new permissions. So in a similar fashion, I've added another drop-down menu that allows you to select who is the default editor, the person that will be getting all the permissions for any new content type. There's a few screenshots there that had excessive messaging and tips there, but we ended up with something less fancy, just with a single message there, just to let the people know that, hey, we've added some default permissions there. So yeah,
it looks good. I like the approach where there's now the admin role plus an editor role that you select.
And for existing sites, we don't touch that. We leave it as disabled. So because automatically assigning permissions is a bit sensitive, so we just leave it as disabled, and then we make that the default for new sites.
One thing, and maybe this has already been covered for any newly created types. So one thing that differs is that the admin role, you don't have the ability to reduce the permissions of the admin role. The admin role always has all permissions all the time. On on the permissions page, like the entire column of checkboxes is disabled. You're not even allowed to reduce its level
Nope.
of permission. It's
Not,
not?
not so this is, you're confusing, I think, user one. So that this setting needs to be enabled and it's not disabled. So if you go to like even spin up the sandbox that doesn't touch any of the permissions for whichever role we use as an administrator. So the checkboxes can be disabled actually. So you're thinking
Really?
Drupal. You're thinking Drupal now.
Oh, does Drupal not? Drupal doesn't allow you to reduce the admin
I
permissions?
think maybe I haven't, or maybe you're thinking user one.
Yeah, user one, I know for sure you can't. But I thought that was the case for the admin role too. So you can actually reduce the permissions of the admin role.
Yeah, and also the help text or the help text for that field set says changing these settings will not affect existing permissions. So if you have previously removed the permissions, or you have set it so that something else was the administrator role, changing that box doesn't automatically grant them all permissions, only new permissions from then on.
Yep, you're right. You can remove permissions. Huh. Okay. Well, never mind. I guess
And
that
you
I guess
can't.
that eliminates my concern. Go
You
ahead,
can't
Justin.
remove the checkboxes in Drupal 10. So, yes.
Oh, maybe that's where I'm getting that that thought from. Interesting.
Because
Okay.
I just looked at it. So just-
Maybe, yeah, I'm sure that we had a reasoning for this, but maybe I'll file a follow-up just to see why it's done that way in Drupal and why we do it that way in Backdrop, and see if it's still a valid way, the way that we do it, and a useful way for things to be done. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. I'll add that to the list. That's not in the milestone, is it?
Let me see. No, there's no milestone set yet. Sorry, I'll add the milestone candidate thing, and then someone can add
Yeah. I'll move it.
following process.
Yeah. Sorry, what's the issue number again? I lost it.
5885.
All right. And you're an advocate. Okay. Great. Great. Okay. Well, that does it for the 125 list. Oh, I guess I'll mention my issue that I am advocating for. 2615, allow limiting text formats per field instance. 2615. So yeah, I'd like to get this issue moving forward a little bit. I'm not sure that we'll be able to complete it, honestly, in such a short time window. And this is like, I haven't done anything on it. So it's like I posted I was going to advocate for it back in December, which I did advocate for it, but I haven't made any progress. So I still don't think that this is going to be a big lift. It's possible that it could be completed, but I'm not holding my breath on it. So
historically, when we had the feature freeze happen over the weekend, we organized some code sprint, even roughly. Like for the people that are present here, do you guys have any sense of your availability over the weekend? I'll try my best to be there like all the time.
Thanks, Greg. Let's see. I do believe that Sunday morning is going to be a pretty good time for me. And I'm in Pacific West Coast time.
Do you have any sense of how, like the window, how many hours?
Probably from about 10 to 10 a.m. to maybe 2 p.m.
Right. Cool.
So like a 4-hour window there, and maybe some in the evening as well. Oh, no. Sorry, I've got a dinner Sunday night. So yeah, so Sunday morning is going to be the best time for my review. I think we'll see about Saturday. May or may not. Maybe Saturday night have some activity.
Robert, are you advocating for anything or working on anything?
Not working on anything. I think I'm advocating for one that's already completed, which was the first one Nate mentioned.
Yeah, the taxonomy term checkboxes. Yeah.
Right.
And I'm gonna
Okay.
be out away from internet for 2 weeks, starting Friday. So
Enjoy your time off. Well deserved.
Excellent.
Right.
Okay.
So maybe we'll get started with a Zoom link or something like that in the, I think we already have a Zulip channel for Feature Freeze. So we'll see each other there and whoever wants to join.
Sounds great. Does anyone have any other topics they'd like to bring up? Okay. Okay, well, we'll close for today. Thank you so much for being here, folks. Thanks for your work as always. It's great to see all the new features getting into, or new issues that were fixed in the 124.3 release. So it's very exciting to get those things out into the wild. Sorry, 124.2 release. Thank you so much. And yeah, we'll see some of you on the weekend and on the internet. So thanks so much.